It had been a gray, silent afternoon when Ethan Caldwell's life quietly shifted course, though at the time he thought it was just another Tuesday. The private jet touched down earlier than expected. Meetings in Chicago wrapped up faster than planned, so he returned home to his sprawling estate in upstate New York, a property as quiet and well-maintained as the man himself. The sun dipped low over manicured hedges and cold stone pillars. Inside, the housekeepers moved like ghosts, always efficient, never visible. That's how Ethan liked it, quiet, controlled. He entered through the side foyer, loosened his tie, and set his briefcase down with the weight of someone used to the absence of surprise. Then he heard it. Not music, not footsteps. Something softer, rhythmic. A voice. High-pitched, careful, almost melodic. He froze outside the music room, every muscle tensed. Slowly, he pushed open the double doors. There, beneath the soft gold light of the chandelier, his 6-year-old daughter Lily sat cross-legged on the plush rug. Her hair fell over her face as she leaned over a colorful picture book, her small hands flipping pages in silence. And beside her, wearing a faded navy apron and kneeling like she belonged there, was Rosa Morales, the cleaning woman he barely remembered hiring. But none of that mattered, not the book, not the rug, not even the maid. Because Lily was speaking. A whisper, barely louder than breath. "Annyeonghaseyo," she said. Her tone was careful, reverent, as though tasting a word made of crystal. Ethan's voice shot out, sharp and thunderous. "Why is my daughter speaking Korean?" His words cracked the air like a whip. The family dog scrambled from under the piano bench and darted out of the room. Ethan stood frozen in the doorway, one hand still gripping the briefcase he hadn't even put down. His heart slammed against his ribs. Rosa didn't move. She closed the book gently, placed it on the floor, and stood, slowly, respectfully. She adjusted her apron with clean, practiced hands. "She asked me how to say hello," she said softly. So I answered. Ethan blinked, the blood rising behind his ears. "You were hired to clean the guest wing, not teach my daughter foreign phrases." "It was one word," Rosa replied, her voice calm. "She wanted to learn. I didn't initiate, she did." Lily looked up at him then, those wide gray eyes, quiet, peaceful, but different. Alert, present in a way he hadn't seen since Anna died. He stepped forward, closing the distance between them. His eyes darted to Rosa. "She hasn't spoken in 2 years, not a single word." "She hasn't spoken," Rosa corrected, her tone still gentle. "But she listens. She always has." That stopped him cold. Rosa gathered the book and turned to leave, but paused in the doorway. She didn't lift her chin or challenge him. She didn't cry. She only said, "Sometimes, Mr. Caldwell, children don't need fixing. They just need to be heard in the language they understand." Then she walked out, leaving behind a stunned father, a silent daughter, and a question that refused to go away. Ethan didn't know it yet, but that quiet whisper, just one Korean word, would undo everything he thought he understood about his daughter, about grief, about control. He didn't know that sometimes the people we overlook are the ones who see us most clearly. But in that moment, all he could do was whisper her name. "Lily." She looked at him, tilted her head. And just for a flicker, it felt like she recognized him. And so the seed was planted. He would send Rosa away from Lily. He would double the therapy hours. He would call the best specialist money could buy. But deep down, something had cracked open. Because no amount of data could explain what he had just seen with his own eyes. His daughter had spoken. And not for him, but for the maid. If this story already speaks to your heart, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Your support keeps these stories alive. The next morning, Rosa Morales wasn't cleaning the nursery or straightening Lily's bookshelves. She was in the basement, alone, scrubbing rust from concrete. The directive had come down swiftly and without conversation. Ethan had spoken to the house manager the night before with clipped certainty. Reassign her, no contact with Lily, none. So Rosa went, without protest, without a word. She took her gloves, her supplies, her dignity, and descended the narrow stairs to the storage level, a space designed to be forgotten. Upstairs, the silence stretched. Lily had always lived in quiet. After her mother passed 2 years ago, she retreated into herself like a shell snapped shut. Therapists called it selective mutism. though nothing about it had ever felt like a choice. Ethan had accepted it, in the way men who fix things accept what they can't fix, with frustration, with helplessness, with more specialists, more appointments, more screens and sessions and speech programs. But none of them had made her say anything. Until yesterday. Now, something had shifted. Lily wandered the house differently, drifting by doorways, lingering by the staircase that led down to the basement. Her eyes searched rooms, corners, silence itself. Something was missing. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the baby monitor that still, after all these years, remained on his nightstand. Not because he didn't trust Lily's care, but because part of him never stopped hoping for a miracle. And then, at 2:04 a.m., it came. Barely audible through the static and stillness, he heard her murmur in sleep, "Merci, Papa." His chest tightened. He sat forward. Merci, French, and Papa. She hadn't called him that since before the funeral, before she stopped singing with Anna in the kitchen, before she stopped speaking at all. He rewound the recording, played it again. It was unmistakable, clear, intentional, not mimicry, not noise. He stayed up until sunrise. Later that morning, Ethan paced the library with his phone pressed to his ear. "I need you to come to the house," he said. "Today. It's about Lily." By noon, Dr. Alan Harris, child psychologist, speech pathologist, and one of the most respected specialists on the East Coast, was sitting on the living room couch watching surveillance footage on Ethan's tablet. The video was grainy, but the scene was clear. Lily, the piano room rug, the same book, Rosa beside her, Korean syllables, traced letters, laughter. When the clip ended, Ethan lowered the screen. "Tell me this is just mimicry," he said quietly. "Tell me she's just repeating sounds. Tell me this isn't." Dr. Harris didn't answer right away. He rewound a section and turned the volume up slightly. "This isn't mimicry," he said at last. "This is structured, phoneme formation, repetition with intention." "She hasn't responded to any of her therapists," Ethan said, almost defensively. "Then maybe the problem, Dr. D." Harris replied gently, "isn't Lily's condition. It's the language we've been using to reach her." The silence that followed was long. Then Dr. Harris asked, "Who's Rosa?" "She cleans, mops, organizes the second floor." "But what's her background?" Ethan opened his mouth, then closed it. He didn't know. He had no resume on file, no references. Rosa had come through a staffing agency after their last housekeeper left. She had good reviews, quiet, capable, invisible. Now, suddenly, she wasn't. Downstairs, Rosa continued cleaning. She didn't hum. Not today. She moved like someone who understood what silence was meant to do, how it could be used as both a wall and a weapon. But even silence can't block instinct. That afternoon, she felt it. A soft patter on the top stair. She turned slowly. Lily stood there, hugging her stuffed panda. Her cheeks were flushed, but her eyes were calm. She didn't speak right away, just tilted her head, then said softly, "Leave." Rosa blinked. French again. "Book." She walked to the bottom of the stairs and crouched down. "Do you want the book, Menina?" Lily nodded, more certain this time. "Gato, chat." Rosa's throat tightened. The girl remembered. Not only that, she had retained. She wasn't mimicking. She was learning. Rosa reached into a crate and pulled out a small, dog-eared children's book she had accidentally left behind during one of her nursery cleanings. Animals Around the World. Each page labeled with words in 6 languages. "Don't tell anyone," she whispered, offering it up. Lily took it reverently, turned to go, then paused. One more word, this time soft as a secret, "Gracias." Then she disappeared back up the stairs like a whisper in reverse. But the mansion wasn't empty of eyes. From behind the cracked hallway door, Olivia, head housekeeper of the Caldwell estate for 11 years, watched everything. She had noticed the late-night glances, the missing books, the hush that followed Rosa like a shadow. Now it was clear. That woman wasn't just cleaning baseboards. She was doing something else. Something that looked suspiciously like tutoring, or therapy, or worse, manipulation. And Mr. Caldwell had issued a strict order. No contact. Olivia opened her phone and tapped into her notes app. She's not who she says she is. Overheard something strange. Possible violation. We'll explain later. She sent the message to a contact saved simply as VB, Victoria Belmont, socialite, columnist, and self-appointed queen of whisper networks from Manhattan to Greenwich. Within hours, the wildfire was lit. By morning, the estate buzzed with something heavier than electricity: speculation. At precisely 6:37 a.m., a headline dropped on a lesser-known society blog. Is the Caldwell Maid a fraud? A doctor secretly running experiments on a special needs child? The article was short, sharp, and full of phrases like unauthorized, unlicensed, and potential risk. It named no names, but it didn't need to. It described the estate, the child, the maid with an accent and too much patience. It asked dangerous questions. Was Lily Caldwell part of a secret study? Had her father authorized this? And worst of all, is kindness being used to manipulate a vulnerable child for personal gain? Ethan's phone started ringing before he finished his first cup of coffee. His COO, his board chair, a senator's wife whose child attended Lily's old preschool. All asking the same thing: is this true? Who is this woman? But Ethan still didn't know, not really. And for the first time in a long time, that uncertainty terrified him more than the scandal itself. Because when he looked across the kitchen island and saw his daughter pointing to the word milk in 3 different languages, then smiling, he wasn't thinking about damage control. He was thinking about one thing. What if Rosa had already done what no therapist ever could? What if the stranger he dismissed as just a maid had heard a voice he had forgotten how to hear? Ethan found Rosa in the laundry room. She was folding bedsheets in perfect, silent precision, corner to corner, like someone who had folded more fabric than most people ever would in a lifetime. Her back was straight, her sleeves were rolled up. She looked exactly as she always had, unassuming, clean, invisible. But she wasn't invisible anymore. "Come with me," he said. She didn't ask where. She simply set the linen down and followed. They walked in silence to his study, a space of polished oak, leather-bound books, and high-end stillness. Rosa stepped inside carefully, as if she didn't belong there. Ethan turned his laptop toward her. On the screen, a university faculty profile, Dr. Rosa Morales, NYU Department of Applied Linguistics, specialty, multilingual learning and neurodivergent cognition. Beside it, a scanned copy of a research article, Neuroplasticity and Selective Mutism, Rewiring the Language of Silence. He leaned back in his chair. "You're a professor." "I was," Rosa said softly. "You have publications, a lecture circuit. I found conference footage. I had a life," she interrupted gently. "Until my mother got sick, I had to step away. Academia doesn't wait for grief, Mr. Caldwell, but rent doesn't pause either." "So you became a maid?" "I became what people needed me to be," she said. "Someone who wouldn't talk too much, someone who worked hard, someone who wouldn't be seen." He stared at her. "You let me think you were just—" "I never claimed otherwise," she replied, calm as water. "You never asked for more," Ethan rubbed his forehead. "And Lily, what did you do to her?" "I didn't do anything," Rosa said, voice firm. "I spoke. She listened. Not because I forced her, but because I waited. I whispered. I gave her space." He sat in silence, the air between them heavy. Then he said quietly, "Show me." They cleared out the guest house within a day. Not much, just a few dusty furniture pieces, an old treadmill no one used. In its place, they brought in a small whiteboard, colored tiles, laminated flashcards in 6 languages, soft beanbags, and a camera discreetly placed in the corner, not to invade, but to observe. Dr. Harris returned to supervise, quietly, off the record. And Lily bloomed. She didn't just say words, she switched between them, French to Spanish to Korean, then back to English. One day she greeted Rosa in Hebrew, another day she sang a lullaby in German. Her hands sometimes signed what her voice could not. "She's not memorizing," Rosa explained one afternoon as Ethan stood beside the playroom window, watching his daughter laugh mid-syllable. "She's attaching meaning. Language is becoming a bridge. She's walking over it, at her own pace." Ethan didn't reply. He was still watching Lily, watching the joy return to her face in a way he hadn't seen since Anna died. Joy that wasn't coaxed or programmed. It was effortless, it was hers, but joy, as always, made people nervous. The article hit 3 days later. This time, not a rumor, not whispers, a full-blown exposé. Millionaire father letting maid run language experiments on autistic daughter. It spread like fire in a drought. By noon, it was trending on every parenting forum from New Jersey to Palo Alto. No names, but it didn't matter. The photo, grainy and unfair, showed Rosa kneeling beside Lily in the guest house holding flashcards. Headlines accused Ethan of using his daughter as a case study. They painted Rosa as a rogue intellectual, posing as a housekeeper to circumvent ethical oversight. They used words like unauthorized, manipulative, unfit. By the end of the day, his company's board demanded a written statement, a denial. Some wanted him to cut ties immediately, others wanted an investigation. But Ethan couldn't stop thinking about Lily. That morning, she had pointed to the back of the cereal box and read the word milk in French, German, and Portuguese, then giggled, then hugged the box. His daughter was speaking again. And now, the world wanted him to shut it all down. The next day, they came. Unmarked car, 2 plainclothed officers, a stern woman in a slate gray suit, all standing at the front door with legal documents. "Mr. Caldwell," the woman said without greeting, "we have an emergency order from the Family Welfare Oversight Committee. We're here for the child." Ethan stepped forward, heart pounding. "What?" "Due to recent allegations and media exposure," she continued, "we've been granted temporary authority to remove the child from any non-parental educational influence until an investigation is complete." He blocked the doorway. "She's not in danger. That's not your call to make." In the corner of the living room, Lily had frozen mid-drawing, crayons still in hand. She looked at the woman, then the officers, then to Rosa, who had just entered the room with folded towels in her arms. Lily stood. She walked toward Rosa. Then, in a voice louder than anyone had heard her use in years, she said, in clear, deliberate French, "Elle est ma professeure." She is my teacher. The gray-suited woman blinked. Then Lily added in Spanish, "Mi voz importa." My voice matters. Then in Korean. Then in English. "My name is Lily. I speak 9 languages. She taught me." One of the officers looked at the woman, uncertain. "Ma'am?" Rosa dropped to one knee beside Lily. Her voice was calm but full of steel. "You can't take her. We have jurisdiction." "Then show me the warrant." The woman faltered. Ethan stepped in. "Unless you have a signed judicial order, you are not taking my daughter anywhere." The silence that followed was icy and electric. The woman exhaled sharply, made a call in the hallway. After a long pause, she returned. "You have 48 hours, she said, jaw tight. "After that, all non-certified, non-parental instruction must cease, or we will act." Then they left. Lily's small hand curled into Rosa's apron. And for the first time, Ethan noticed Rosa's hand tremble, not out of fear for herself, but for the child beside her. That evening, Ethan stood on the back porch, the air thick with coming rain. Dr. Harris joined him, holding 2 mugs of tea. "She's changing," Ethan said. "You mean Rosa?" "No, Lily." Harris smiled softly. "Sometimes change doesn't come by force. It comes when someone finally listens." Ethan turned toward the guest house. The windows glowed with soft lamplight. Inside, Rosa sat cross-legged, Lily beside her, tracing letters on the floor. "You think we can stop them?" Ethan asked. Dr. Harris sipped his tea. "I think if they want to silence a child's progress for bureaucracy's sake, they'll have to do it with the whole world watching." Ethan exhaled. "I don't care if Rosa's resume is a decade out of date. I don't care if her methods are unconventional. All I care about is one thing." "What's that?" "My daughter called me Daddy again, in English and in French, and in a whisper that didn't sound broken anymore." Dr. Harris nodded. "Then let's make them listen." The room had never been this quiet. A single child-sized chair sat in the center of the sunlit music room. The Persian rug had been rolled away. The baby grand piano moved to the corner. All that remained was a tripod camera, a book, and a child ready to speak. Lily wore a navy blue dress and white sneakers. Her hair was pinned neatly behind one ear. Her small hands held a dog-eared book titled My Words Matter. She sat down without prompting. She didn't fidget. Behind the camera, Rosa gave a small nod. "Whenever you're ready, Menina." Lily took a breath, then another, and began. "Hello. My name is Lily Caldwell. I'm 6 years old. For a long time, people thought I couldn't speak, but that wasn't true. Didn't know how to say things that made sense, not in English, not in noise. She turned the page, but Rosa spoke in the quiet, and I heard her. Page by page, she read the book aloud. Each sentence, each thought delivered in a different language: French, Spanish, Korean, Arabic, sign language, Hebrew, Portuguese, Japanese, English, 9 languages, flawless pronunciation, steady rhythm, not performance, but presence. She ended with the same line, in English, looking directly into the camera. I am not broken, I just needed someone to listen. No one in the room spoke, because there was nothing to add. Ethan uploaded the video himself. No PR firm, no media team, no edits, just a caption. This is my daughter, this is her voice, this is why we fight. The video went live at 2:17 p.m. By 4 p.m., it had over 100,000 views. By midnight, it passed 4 million. The next morning, Good Morning America called. By afternoon, a producer from 60 Minutes reached out. A Harvard developmental psychologist left a voicemail asking to co-publish Rosa's work. And then, the most unexpected call of all came from the same state officials who had tried to remove Lily just days before. We would like to review the footage. There may be grounds to reassess the situation. Ethan told them he would send the footage once they issued a formal apology. But the real moment came later that night. The lights were dim, the internet had gone quiet, the house for once breathed calmly. Lily lay curled up on the couch between Ethan and Rosa, her head resting on Rosa's shoulder. Her fingers traced slow letters across Ethan's arm. "Papa," she whispered. He looked down. "Yeah, sweetheart? Are you mad?" He blinked. "At you?" "Never." She looked at him seriously. "At Rosa?" He hesitated. "I don't know yet." Lily sat up, picked up her book, and placed it gently on the coffee table. "She told me I wasn't broken," Lily said. "Just quiet." Ethan felt something inside his chest give way. "She helped me talk," Lily continued. "Not just with words, with me." He reached across the table and covered her small hand with his own. "You think she should stay?" Lily nodded without hesitation. "She sees me, like Mom used to." And in that moment, he knew. This wasn't about perception anymore. It was about truth. Within a week, Ethan made his decision public. Rosa Morales would not be dismissed. She would be funded. He launched the Lily Voice Project, a privately supported research initiative focused on multilingual learning and neurodivergent children. Dr. Harris agreed to serve as medical advisor. Rosa, no longer in an apron, would lead the program as its founding director, and she would do it under her real name, Dr. Rosa Morales. At the Connecticut Education Summit 2 weeks later, Rosa stood behind a podium in a charcoal gray blazer, flats that pinched her toes, and a heart beating far louder than she let on. The audience was stiff at first: school administrators, consultants, and 2 representatives from the Family Oversight Commission. But Rosa didn't speak like a professor. She spoke like someone who had scrubbed floors for a child who had forgotten how to speak, and stayed anyway. She didn't recite theory. She shared truth. She shared Lily's first word in Korean, her whisper in Portuguese, the way her hand trembled when she said merci in her sleep. The way silence itself had been the child's language of safety, and how the world mistook it for absence. "For over a year," Rosa said, voice steady, "I scrubbed floors in a house where I was overqualified, unseen, and underestimated. Not because I lacked value, but because the world often sees titles, not truth." She looked at the front row. Lily sat there, swinging her legs under her chair, mouthing the words, "You got this." Rosa smiled. "And that little girl," she said, "taught me that the only degree that matters is how much you're willing to believe in someone no one else sees." A long pause. Then the room rose in applause, not polite, not performative, but real. Tears. Hands over hearts. Standing ovation. The maid was the expert. The child was never broken. And the silence wasn't a flaw. It was a form of protection. The world had misdiagnosed both of them. But now, it was listening. The envelope was deep blue with gold lettering pressed into its surface, thick and deliberate. Office of Faculty Appointments, Harvard Graduate School of Education. Ethan found it on the porch swing just after dawn, tucked beneath Rosa's usual teacup. She hadn't said anything. Not yet. He turned it over in his hands. The weight of it was undeniable. That evening, Rosa stood at the kitchen island, still in her soft cardigan, the envelope unopened beside her. She stared at it as if it might vanish if she blinked. Ethan leaned against the doorway. "You should go," he said gently. She didn't turn to face him. "Should I?" He stepped closer. "You earned this. You fought for it long before I knew your name, before Lily ever whispered a word." Rosa let out a breath that felt like it had been held for years. "I promised her I'd stay," she said, "that she'd never be alone again. And now she's strong enough to understand what it means if you don't," Ethan replied. "You didn't promise to never grow. You promised to never give up on her voice." That night, Rosa sat beside Lily's bed, smoothing back her hair as she drifted to sleep. "Miss Rosa," Lily murmured. "Yes, mi amor?" "Are you leaving?" Rosa paused. "Why do you ask?" "I heard you on the phone," Lily said softly. "The big school, the one with the red buildings." Rosa smiled sadly. "I haven't decided." "I think you should," Lily whispered. Her eyes were wide and full of something heavier than sadness, wisdom. "You do?" Lily nodded. "You gave me my voice," she said, voice trembling. "Now you have to give it to other kids like me, before someone else tells them to stay quiet." A single tear slid down Rosa's cheek. She kissed the girl's forehead. "Gracias, mi niña," she said. "That's the bravest thing anyone's ever told me." 2 mornings later, Rosa walked into Ethan's study and placed the signed letter on his desk. "I'll leave in a month," she said, "but I'll come back every other week, off the record, as family." Ethan stood and reached to shake her hand, but Rosa wrapped him in a hug instead. No words, just gratitude. In the weeks that followed, Lily began recording videos, short, simple, sincere. "Hi, I'm Lily," she'd say, looking straight into the lens. "And this is how you say thank you in 9 different ways." The channel grew faster than anyone expected. Learning with Lily became a quiet revolution, not flashy, not polished, just honest. Children from across the country, and then across the world, tuned in. Kids who didn't speak often, kids who had been told they couldn't. Parents wrote in too, thanking Lily, thanking Rosa, thanking the silence that was finally heard. One day, Ethan took Lily for a walk through the old town square, just the 2 of them. The leaves had started to turn, and the air smelled like apple cider and new beginnings. They stopped in front of a mural painted by local high school students. At the center stood a child with arms open, surrounded by swirling words in countless languages. And beside her, a woman with a soft expression, arms not reaching to instruct but open to listen. "That's me," Lily said, pointing. Ethan nodded. "And her?" Lily smiled. "That's Miss Rosa, but also kind of Mom." He didn't correct her. He just took her hand. The night before Rosa's departure, she packed her suitcase slowly. Books, notebooks, a printed copy of My Words Matter, now in its 4th reprint. Lily stood in the doorway holding a drawing. It showed the 2 of them sitting under a tree, reading side by side. Above them, Lily had written in purple marker, "Some people teach with rules, you taught with love." Rosa knelt. "You're going to change the world, Lily." Lily nodded. "So are you, just from a different place." As Rosa's car pulled away the next morning, Lily ran beside it barefoot in the grass, waving with both arms. Her voice carried above the wind. "Ciao, at logo, see you soon." Rosa rolled down the window and called back, "Never stop speaking, menina." And Lily didn't. She never would. 2 years later, the ballroom lights dimmed. Over 2,000 educators, doctors, and parents from around the world leaned forward in silence at the Global Conference on Inclusive Education in Geneva. The moderator stepped to the podium. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "our next speaker is not only the youngest presenter in this conference's history, but the living proof that, when we truly listen, miracles aren't rare, they're inevitable." He paused. She once couldn't speak at all. Today, she speaks in 9 languages. A hush fell over the crowd. Please welcome Miss Lily Caldwell. Lily, now 8, stepped onto the stage in a powder blue dress. Her hair was braided to one side. She walked with confidence, but not pride. At the edge of the stage, Rosa stood with her hands clasped, eyes shimmering. Lily reached the podium. She adjusted the mic. She didn't rush. She let the silence settle. Then she spoke. "If you want to help kids like me," she began, "don't ask them to shout. Whisper with them and wait." She paused, scanning the crowd. "I'm not broken. I just needed someone who cared enough to translate the silence." And then, without announcement, she repeated the same paragraph again, in French, then Spanish, then Korean, Arabic, sign language, Portuguese, Japanese. Each time the crowd held its breath. By the time she finished, no one clapped, not because they didn't want to, because they were too busy wiping their eyes. She stepped back from the mic and turned. Without a word, she held out her hand. Rosa walked up, took it, and together they stood under the soft lights, teacher and student, woman and girl, proof and possibility. That night, Ethan sat in a quiet hallway just outside the conference room. He watched from afar as Lily laughed with two children from Brazil, seamlessly switching between languages. A reporter approached him, notepad in hand. "Mr. Caldwell," she asked softly, "what do you see when you look at her now?" He smiled, eyes damp. "I see my daughter," he said, then paused. "And the woman who reminded the world that dignity doesn't come from a diagnosis. It comes from being seen." Not far away, Rosa stood by the window. A young teacher beside her asked, "Professor Morales, when did you first know Lily was special?" Rosa smiled gently. "The first time she didn't speak." She turned toward the light. Because silence is a language of its own. You just have to care enough to translate it. 2 years later, the Lily and Rosa Foundation had reached over 50,000 children across 6 continents. The phrase, "let them whisper," had become a global movement in trauma-informed education. But not everyone was happy about that. A few critics still called it soft, unstructured, dangerous. They preferred charts, volume, diagnoses. Some people still thought the world should stay quiet, but kindness doesn't need permission to speak. What happens when kindness challenges the system itself? Stay with us for more real stories that remind us true worth isn't seen in titles, it's heard in the way we choose to listen.